Hey everybody, I'm David.
I'm Jess.
I'm the husband.
I'm the wife.
And we are married.
15 to life. That was terrible. See, that's why I don't sing it.
Way to stay on key though.
Hey,
Great job.
it's amazing.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Are you really? We're going to talk like let's do a whole podcast where we talk with rhythm like we're from the Ozarks.
Let's not do that.
Yep, let's not do that. How's your day going so far?
It's going very good. I'm drinking a lot of water. So that's my life now. Trying to get back on track with water.
If all of a sudden there's a weird edit in the middle of the podcast, it's because she had to take a bathroom break.
It's happened a lot.
It does happen sometimes.
I don't like drinking. So my new philosophy.
I don't like drinking either. I like to stay sober.
I don't like drinking anything, like even water.
Yeah.
So my new philosophy is just chug it down.
Yeah.
And you kind of feel like you're floating for a while. But
I got you.
Anyway.
So we slept here all week and didn't go home and do laundry. We don't know where our kids are.
Dave was like, do you think they'll mind us being the same clothes? I'm like, I wear this shirt all the time.
I know, but just, I don't know. I don't want people to log in and see us and be like, hey, I just watched this one. But no, this is a brand new episode.
Hey, a lot of people are listening and
That
they
is
don't know.
true. They don't even know what we're wearing. What do you think we're wearing? What shirt do you think? I am wearing a Mountain Dew shirt right now. That's exactly what I'm wearing. No, I hate Mountain Dew.
You do?
Yes, I hate.
I didn't know you hated it.
I hate Mountain Dew because it's not Mellow Yellow.
I hate Mountain Dew. I hate Dr. Pepper. I hate Mellow Yellow.
I love Dr. Pepper. I love drinks. I love sodas that have a bite. That's what I love. When I'm drinking the soda, I want there to be a little place in my throat where it goes, gotcha.
Well, any soda does that. It's sparkling.
No. Mountain
Diet
Dew.
Coke does.
Mountain Dew is so smooth and so full of sugar. It just goes right down.
I don't like any kind of sugar.
Yeah, Sprite's the same way. Sprite's refreshing. It's
kind of burns though, especially if you get McDonald's Sprite.
Well, McDonald's Sprite is extra concentrated, so it's all different. But like it's right out of the can or right out of the bottle is not near as strong. I like my soda to have a bite to it. And that's
anyway,
this is not a soda podcast conversation, although we may have that eventually if we ever wanted to. But no, for today's episode, I really want to once again just say we appreciate all of you for listening and all of you for watching and for all of the love you give us, all the comments you do. Please continue to do that. We also definitely want you to send us your voice recordings like we played last episode. We would love to get those at married15tolife@mail.com. So make sure you're sending those to us. We're going to be doing another Q&A episode here in the near future. I think I'm probably around the big 40 because this would be episode 33, I think. And
you said last time was 31.
31 just dropped.
Oh, so it was 32 last time.
So this one's 33, which means it's time for David to die because Jesus died at 33. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're not going to do that.
Oh, Lord.
We're not going to do that. No, but I'll come back from the dead though.
Oh, please.
But probably around episode 40, I'm thinking we'll do a Q&A. So for the big top 40, I would love to bring in some Q&As from you guys. So make sure you're submitting your questions to us in advance, and we will do our best to compile all of those audio and reading, and we'll answer as many of them as we can before episode 40 or at episode 40. I think that'd be a good plan.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then episode 50, you know what I want to do?
What?
I want to go live. I want to do it live and let people
Y'all
watch
can see my
us.
bathroom breaks in real time.
And I want to, I want to do like make it like a 90-minute live and let people actually talk to us while we're recording.
What's cool is there's a podcast I listen to. It's called The Prosecutors. If you like true crime, it's one of my favorites. And for their Patreons, they film every episode live for them.
That's cool.
And then the edited part goes up.
They edit it afterward. Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah. So I think that is cool. And then definitely, please get us up to 1,000 subscribers. We'll throw a full-on bash when we hit that. So I want to...
You want to see a bash, then
I definitely want to do that. Yeah, let's do that, please. Today's episode, honey, we're going to navigate it with kid gloves.
I'm scared.
Because it's a needed episode for us. And it's a needed episode for married couples that are out there. No matter how long you've been married, as young married couples or older married couples, everybody has to learn.
I don't ever know the topics ahead of time.
Because I ask her, I always say, what do you want to talk about? And she always says,
I don't know.
So guess who has to come up with the topics then? But this is going to be good because we've just navigated this. And this is something that I think will be helpful to people out there on how we do it and how we've done it wrong and how we've learned to do it right. And that is, how do you overcome the old cliche of what we have here is a failure to communicate.
A fight.
No, miscommunication.
Miscommunication.
This is where I
demonstration.
There's going to be a lot to talk about here because there's so many times in our marriage where I feel like we're on the same page, only to find out within 1 second we are not. And it's in those moments I'm like, how did we get here? How am I on page 20 and she's still on page 10? Or is she on page 50 and I'm still back here at page 35? What in the world is this?
I do feel like a lot of marriage is just communication.
Well,
and when that
it's
breaks
the heartbeat
down,
of everything.
When that breaks down, that's when you have problems. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So I just want to talk about that. As we just said, communication is the key to any relationship. And I mean, it all stems, of course, number one, from our walk with God. But if you don't have a prayer life, your walk with God is non-existent. That's how God talks to you, and that's how you talk to him.
Right.
And so you have to spend time in his word, and you have to spend time in his presence, and you have to spend time in conversation with him. Otherwise, you can't hear him. And I think a lot of times in marriage, we hear, but maybe we're not always listening.
Yeah.
And a lot of times
communication is not just about talking.
No,
it's also listening.
And also a lot of things are said in passing that maybe they didn't know were important, but actually they were important.
Yeah.
And here's where I'm the most guilty of, and I'm not afraid to admit this, is when you think you've said something and you didn't.
David does this all the time.
I do it all the time. And it is the biggest problem with communication because I have a digital calendar. I'm talking in meetings all the time. I have notes that are sent to me about things. I have plans that I'm working on with other people. And there's just times when I forget. Yes, Jessica and I are one, but we're not always in the same room. and because somebody said something to me does not mean at home at 50 minutes away she's heard it.
Pastor we've ever worked with has been the same way. We're like, did they ever talk to each other?
We have been in these meetings where pastors have gotten up to make a presentation and the wife is sitting in the room and goes, we're not doing that. That's the weekend we're doing this. And he's like, oh my goodness! How did I not know about that?
Yeah,
I won't be here. You have to find somebody else to do that.
We look at them and we're like, "Do they never talk?" And then you can say the same thing to us sometimes.
But again, I think there's a level of it, and we'll get into our dynamic of it. But honey, just from a 10,000 feet perspective, why is this such an issue? Because a lot of married couples, if you trace the root of the issues they have, it's because there is a failure to communicate.
Well, early on, I've had to realize that I have to speak up when something hurts my feelings, when something goes south or whatever. You're not just going to infer it.
No.
And when we first got married, I really had a hard time with that. Like,
very hard time.
If you hurt my feelings, like I would just kind of shut down, and I didn't want to I don't like confrontation at all.
I don't like it either.
I don't think anybody loves it, but I will run from it. Like the whole fight or flight, I will flight every time. And so like when we would have a disagreement or even not, like we just had a misunderstanding or whatever, I would just hold it in.
Yes, you would.
And the problem with that is
eventually you'll explode.
You'll explode. And also,
or fully shut down.
There's no room to work on it if the other person doesn't even know why you're upset.
Right.
And so early on, I've had to learn how to tell you.
Yeah.
When you did this, it made me feel like this. And it's hard for me. It's gotten a lot easier the more I've done it. But I think that's a lot of it is we don't talk enough. We're always busy. We think the other person is just going to understand what we're thinking. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they don't. And I do think too, like with how busy we are, I do this sometimes. I forget what I've told the vlog, what I've told my mom, what I've told you, what I've told them. And you think you've told everybody, but maybe you haven't.
Right.
And so, the more we communicate, we can't do it enough, and we don't do it enough all the time.
And it drives you nuts because you're like, I know I've said this.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this. Actually, no, we haven't.
Yeah.
You've talked about it, or I've talked about it, and somebody else may have heard it, but we didn't hear it from each other. There are times Jessica will come to me and go, David, I told you. I'm like, no, you didn't. But,
now, there is times I tell you, I told you.
And vice versa. There's times I've told you things just recently that I've told you things, and you didn't hear it.
Too, like when you are talking, if there's a lot of stuff going on, like with the kids, with if they're in the middle of something,
or if you have one earphone in, I'm guilty of that.
David will.
I'm guilty of that.
David will answer me like, yeah, But he didn't hear anything I said.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you into
Or
trouble.
you
I'm
are
like, you said,
Yeah, for me, it's I have something else in my head or in my ears. For you, it's there's something you're focused on, and you just
Yeah.
it's in passing. Like I'll walk in and say hey, and you won't even turn around and look at me, and I'm like hey.
Yeah.
And so it's
And that's why like having the one-on-one time is so important.
100%.
Even if it's not like date nights are great, but if even it's not that, just like 5-minute conversations when you get home. Hey, how was your day? What did you do today? Like it seems
halfway through our day before
we usually check in.
Before you get the kids, we try to check in with each other.
Yeah, because you're not gonna. It's not always gonna feel natural to do it, and it feels kind of weird when you start doing it. Like, oh, how was your day? What did you do today? Blah 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 blah. And it seems kind of like in passing, but it is really important because things come up.
Yes.
And I'll be like, oh, the doctor called and they wanted to schedule this. Do you have time this week to do this or whatever? Like things come up, and that way we can be more on the same page.
Yeah. Like yesterday, I got a text message from Jessica going, hey, by the way, just a reminder, Lucy's appointment is tomorrow. And I check my calendar and go, is it still at this time? And she's like, yes, it is still at that time. Just little things like that. Again, otherwise you get a reminder on your phone. Oh, crap, I got to go get Lucy and take her to the doctor. And if we hadn't talked about it. And
our schedules really have to coordinate a lot because, you a lot of times have to stay home with the boys while I take her to appointment or vice, take Nate to appointment or whatever. And so we really have to coordinate.
Yep.
Our schedules to be able to do that. And so it's important to talk about it.
But let's get to the heart of all of it. And then we'll build on how we've learned about it from each other. There's a book out there that I encourage every single person to read, no matter what side of this relationship you're on. And it's a book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
I've seen the book. I don't think I've ever read it.
It's an interesting read because it does get into the perspective of how men and women just process information differently and how we communicate differently. And it very much talks about, and again, there's outliers to everything. There are probably a lot of women out there that have more, one-track minds like men, and there's probably a few men out there that have very broad, open perspectives like women. But for the most part, men and women have a very, succinct way of how they think. And the problem is, just because we're very myopic by nature, we were born that way. We see things through our lens, and it makes us mad when the whole world doesn't think like us or the whole world doesn't feel like us. It's just the myopic way. And the true walk with God is to find that inner character where you're able to shut that part of you off and then in turn become empathetic and go, okay, I'm not going to think about how I'm feeling. I'm going to think about how they're feeling talking to me. I'm going to think about what they're feeling, acting towards me, because you have to feel that way. Otherwise, if everything is personal to you, if everything said to you is directed at you or whatever, and this is the world we live in now where everybody becomes offended about everything, that no one can say anything. There is no clean humor anymore. There is no nickname anymore. There is no jesting or joking or whatever. Everything's personal. Everything offends me, and I can't even go outside my house without being offended at the fact that the sun chose to shine today. I mean, don't even get me started on that because that is a whole rant that I have.
You're going off on.
I'm going off
track a little.
But again, that's the base nature of humanity, and our whole job in growing as people is trying to overcome that and learn how to relate to people.
The world doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah, it's not just your world. We all have to share it together and make it a better place together with the help of the Lord. Thank God. But just when I think about that, I just thought about to myself, okay, what if we're having a failure to communicate? We both speak English. That's not the problem. So where is the breakdown in communication happening? And it truly is the difference in how we process information. And it truly is the difference in how we relate that information to each other. So let's just go ladies first. As a woman, we've talked about this funny story that men have a garage mind filled with 1,000 boxes, and every single box has a label. And if I want to get into my sports box, I go over to my sports box and I unpack that box. No other boxes react to it. The only box that I'm looking into is my sports box right now. If I want to look at my
we get it.
Yeah, whatever. any other label box. Let's go around the room. Music box, parent box, husband box, whatever, feelings box, whatever. You go and you open up that box, no other boxes react. When a woman opens any of those boxes, every other box shudders. Every other box has a frequency attached to it, to where when one thing is said, it reverberates throughout your whole
women are very
brain.
relational.
Correct.
And so we see the world in relationships, and we also can multitask. And so, like, I may be thinking about making dinner. I'm in there making dinner, but then I think while I'm in there, I need to go put a load of laundry on.
Right.
So then I'll go do that. But then I'm remembering about the stove, and then, hey, by the way, the kids need this, and I'm over here, and then I need to vlog this. And so we're constantly multitasking. That's just the way God made us to do. And so a lot of times when you're in the middle of something, I'll be like, hey, and I'll try to ask you a question. And you're like, I can't. And I'm like, why? Like, I talk and do stuff all the time.
I can talk and walk at the same time, and talk and walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. Why can't you?
If he's in the middle of doing something, it's like, shut down. Like, you're just
and again, not every man is this way, but also you can probably, being in the medical field, you probably know this even more than I do. If you look at a woman's brain versus a man's brain, a man's brain right down the middle of the cerebellum, or whatever this is right here, there's a very thin band that connects the left to the right hemispheres. That thin band means the process of cross communication is not as much as people want it to be. Women have a wider band going down, which means the two halves talk more to each other and can relate more to each other. And so women by nature have the ability to do more at one time than men do. And so it's just truth.
And we do have, like, I think it's so funny because every time I hear, like, we hear a famous speaker, like a pastor or whatever, then we hear their wife and we're like, they are such a better communicator. I mean, we always say this, but I think it's because women have this way of making you feel things.
Yes.
They don't just say things. They can make you
wrap
feel,
it in things.
and they do more of a story, or they do more of this is how it relates to this. And so I do think there's strength in that. But also when that's how also we get, I think, overwhelmed a lot, is because everything we're doing relates to this and that. And we got to worry about this person. And like all the time I'll say, like, that person had a really bad attitude. And David's like, what? Like, I don't even notice. Like, we read emotion, we read the tone and all of this stuff. And men are sometimes clueless to that. Again, we're talking very broad terms.
No, it's true. Yeah, please. Disclaimer for all going forward. We're talking broad.
We're not trying to say if you're, whatever. Like, everybody's different and everybody has different strengths, but just like broad.
Yes.
But there is strength in both sides.
Yes.
But we need to learn how to communicate to each other. Otherwise, you're going to be just hitting like a block.
Yes. And here's the advantage to having the male perspective is the efficiency of it. I joke all the time when I say this. Listen to me. I joke all the time when I say this. If I tell another man, duck, they will just duck. If I tell a woman, duck, why? You're dead. If a person breaks into my house, I don't have to ask, why are you here? I'm going to take him out. If a person breaks in and Jessica's alone, what are you doing? Why are you here? And the whole process happening.
Because I'm not going to be able to take them out.
Well, the whole thing is, it's the immediate get to the point. Let's deal with this. Men are hunters and warriors by nature. God put that inside of us to be protectors and be providers. And so when we have an issue, most men, not all men, most men have a 2-track mind on it. Deal with it immediately and let's get this over with, because I'm not dealing with any potential threat, any potential need, any potential problem. We're dealing with it. We're getting it over with now. If it doesn't go away immediately, men go away. Because and this is the reason why, and I've discovered this. If I can't fix it immediately, I have to get away from it, and either it goes away on its own, or I could come back with a different track of mind and maybe a new approach to how to deal with it. But it's a whole different animal and perspective. And Jessica and I have had miscommunications in the past where I immediately think I know what it is and I attack that. And I'm like, okay, well, then we're going to deal with this. We're going to talk this through. We're going to fix this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like I'm hitting a symptom and not the issue. And she's trying to turn my mind and let me see the issue, but all I see is this is an inconvenience, or this is something my wife's unhappy, or something's going on with my kids, or something's disrupting our harmony in the house, and I'm just done with this and blah blah blah, and I'm going to deal with it. And the problem with that is some things cannot be smashed with a hammer, and some things can't be stabbed with a
Not
sword.
everything is so black and white sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you said, some things are not one thing, but they're related to other things. And so
Yeah.
when you attack the one thing, you are
That's why
hitting
when
the
you
one
start
thing.
talking to a woman, you're like, again, we're talking broad. And maybe I'll just put this on myself. You start talking to me and you're like, what's wrong? I'm really tired. Okay. Well, do you want to take a nap? Oh, well, and I'm really hungry. And then this person said this to me. And then you get through all of that.
And you know what I'm thinking? Okay, let's hit this one first. Then I'm playing Space Invaders. Beep, 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 beep,
Yeah,
beep,
so
beep.
you're trying to fix every problem.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me get you some food. Let's do that. Like, don't worry about that person.
And underneath all those
of that.
things, there's one thing sitting
we
down
have to
in there.
get to.
But here's the thing: half the time you don't even know what it is.
Right. That's the problem.
And that's the
Otherwise, I'd
problem.
probably just start with that.
Exactly. You would.
And so it's always about like asking the right questions and being listening.
Yes.
That's something we've had to learn is to
Yes.
listen to each other and not just try to keep saying our point and our viewpoint, and realizing that we are different.
Yes.
And how can I support you when you're having an issue, or when you support me in a way that maybe that's not our
Yes.
first response.
Absolutely. And as
We're still not pros at this.
Oh, absolutely not. Let's say within the last week, we've proven we're not pros at this.
This is why we're doing this podcast.
Exactly, because literally we've just come out of a season where there was an evening that we're just on so different pages about something, and we're not going to go into what it is because it's not important. And definitely looking back now, 99.9% of the arguments or disputes that we've had, we look back now and go, we wasted our energy on that.
What we were miscommunicated was something about the kids, and it wasn't that even big of a deal.
No.
But we had two different perspectives on
Yes.
it. And we were very tired.
Yes.
It's been a very busy season.
Do not get into a disagreement when it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
The Bible, there's a reason the Bible says, do not go to bed. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. Just don't even, if you're feeling anything, sleep it off. Get up in the morning. If it still bothers you, bring it up in a conversation.
But
Don't go on each other.
The whole thing of don't ever go to bed if you're upset, I don't really fall for that, because there's been times that if we just go to bed in the morning, we see things totally different. And
Right.
usually we can put it down.
Right.
In the moment, you're so like,
No, but I think what that verse means is that you don't go to bed leaving things as if are we okay?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be here in the morning?
No.
Yeah.
And like we always are like, look, we're tired. Let's just go to bed.
Table
Like,
this conversation.
Yeah. And I think that's healthy.
No, 100%.
Because when you're tired and you're emotional, like you're not going to be logical.
you're not your best self. You're not thinking straight.
And and I will say, anytime we don't like fight.
And men, don't talk when you're hungry either.
Yeah, David gets hangry.
When you get hangry, don't talk. Just go get a sandwich or eat some. There will be times she's like, I don't care if you're on a diet. Just go eat whatever. We're going to deal with this later because I can't talk to this person right now. So
yeah. I mean, we don't have like, we barely, I will say
No.
we don't fight that much at all.
Never.
We hardly ever, we don't want to say never. I mean, we have disagreements.
Well, okay. Let's talk about that right there. An argument or disagreement versus a fight. It's exactly what it sounds like. What is a disagreement? You think one thing, I think another thing, we disagree. So let's find a way to come to a mutual place. Argument. You have a perspective, I have a perspective. Let's debate and figure out whose perspective is right, or maybe we're both wrong, or maybe we need to concede and find a mutual planning ground. What's a fight? You're trying to hurt the other person.
Yeah.
That's a fight. You and I almost never fight.
No.
So
I mean, and two, like anytime we're fighting, I'm never worried like you're gonna leave us. Like it never crosses my mind.
And honestly, it's not flattering, but truthfully, one of the biggest reasons the once in a million days we do fight is because we feel safe sparring with each other.
Usually it's when we're so overwhelmed and we take it out on the other person.
Because we know the other person's going to be there in the morning, is going to love us unconditionally.
Why is your kids the worst behaved for you?
Right.
Because they feel safe with you.
They feel safe with you.
And if they're that way with other people, they're not as
Right.
safe. And so it's frustrating as a mother because you're like, gosh, they're always so irritable around me. Well, it's because you can handle it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know where we're going with that.
Well, where we were going with that is the fact of that within that dynamic, there are just certain aspects of who I am and who you are that we've had to learn to navigate when it comes to these things. And a lot of it is what we've learned from our parents.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has been figuring things out because both of your parents did not serve in full-time ministry. Both of my parents did not serve in full-time ministry. They were very active in their churches.
Well, you know, like my mom and I actually were talking about this, I guess when she was here last. My parents were both married before they married each other.
Correct.
And so they had come out of bad marriages that didn't work out. They came together, and then all of us were born from both of them. So we're all from them, but they were married previously. And she was saying, you know, I feel like you guys may not have learned how to fight resolution because we did not fight. And she said, we specifically never fought in front of y'all because they had such bad experiences. They just found out it wasn't worth it.
Right.
And so she's like, I feel kind of bad because y'all never saw the resolution side of that.
Right.
And how to do it fairly.
Right.
And I was like, well, Mom, you can't go back and change time. And, you know, if you did fight in front of us, there'd be other issues, you know?
Right.
So I'm not trying to shame them or anything, but I do think there is a way to model that for your children.
Yes.
And to learn for yourself. I've had to learn how to, you know, it's hard sometimes when you have to like put it down and come together in a compromise, put your side down. I've had to learn how to speak up. Like I said at the beginning, that was very hard for me to do.
Yep.
It's still hard for me to do because I don't know if this is just a woman thing or this is just me and my family thing. Our first instinct is the silent treatment.
Yes, it is.
That is our first instinct.
And it is my biggest pet peeve about.
I don't know why that is. Like, that is where we want to go.
I hate it.
So
I hate it.
I think it's that, honestly, for me, it's that I don't want to get into it. I want to avoid it.
I know, but what it comes across to me, and we're just being vulnerable in front of y'all right now. What it comes across to me is you're beneath me. I don't even want to talk to you right now. Or I know I'm right. You're an idiot. I don't want to talk to you right now.
Well, there may be some. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. See, at least she's admitting it in front of y'all. But seriously, to me, it's like, look, there's obviously an issue here. For you to go silent either means that you just are refusing to talk about it, or you just don't care that I don't think the way you think, or you obviously think you're right and I'm wrong. And so what?
I'm not saying the silent treatment's a good thing, just so we're clear.
No.
Like, I'm saying it's a problem.
No, exactly. But what I'm saying is what I just described to you, that's not your intention.
My intention is just, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to start a fight.
Nothing you could say is going to make this better right now.
Yeah. And the whole flight or fight thing, I feel like the silent treatment is a way to kind of flight.
Of course it is.
You're flighting all of it. It's like, I don't want to talk about it. But if you do that and you never talk about it, like we've had this and you've done this before, like, can we just stop? Like, let's just move past this. And I'm like, well, but if we don't deal with this problem, we're going to keep running into this problem.
Yes.
So a lot about fighting or disagreements or whatever you want to call it is the resolution stage. And okay, this has happened. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do moving forward? Right. Because I think it's fine to forgive and move on. And, you know, I see your side, but you do need to find the root problem and figure out what's going to change so that you don't keep having the same thing. And I think that's a reason why we don't fight a lot is because we've kind of worked out a lot of these things.
We really have. And a lot of them have been worked out for us because just circumstances are what they are. You know, if I come home, you know, angry that, you know, we don't have another zero next to our bank account number, we can't help that. We only can do what we can do. Yeah. And for Jessica to get upset and be like, you know, you should be making so much more money than you.
I don't know why that would ever be a fight.
No, I'm just saying, but like this unrealistic expectation or like things that are just imaginary that so-and-so has their house and has their car.
I feel like that's never us. That's never what we fought about.
But it is people. There are people that carry these unrealistic things into their relationship, and they just think because this is the kind of house I grew up with, or this is what I had, or this is what my
I don't think we've ever fought about money, honestly.
I don't think we have ever.
Now there
either.
was this one time. Can I tell?
You can tell the story. I'm okay with it.
You know what I'm about to say?
I think so. Okay. Go ahead.
There was this one time that it was tight. It was I don't even think we had kids, and we were going to go out to eat, or I don't remember the circumstances. And we were tight, but we weren't bad. and David went to get ice cream.
Yep.
And you knew I was going to say this?
Yep.
Okay. And this was
the moment you said, and David went to get ice cream. Oh, yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And you went into like a Baskin Robbins or something. And now this was back in like 2010 or 11. So it wasn't like prices are now. And they like upsold you into this giant monstrosity of an ice cream cone. And you got back in the car and I was like, holy cow, what is that? And you're like, whatever. And David loves ice cream. And I got out of him how much it was. It was like $9, almost $10. And I about had a heart attack.
You might as well have said 900.
I was like, are you kidding me? And I think I made you so miserable that you did not enjoy one bite of that.
Not one bite of it.
I'm so sorry. I
don't enjoy much.
I look back on that and I'm like, what was I thinking? It was not that big of a deal. But in the moment I was like, we could have bought like 2 gallons of ice cream for that, you know?
Oh yeah. And to this day,
you're particular about prices of ice cream. Did I scar you?
Of course you did. Of course you did. I mean,
I'm sorry.
Okay. No.
That was early in our marriage.
It was, but see, here's the other thing. This is where I flight, is because I want to avoid it so much that we don't talk about it. Like literally, I just hope and pray that like things happen and you either don't care or don't know or don't
What?
Like it's just this like this whole thing of, you know, I just don't even want this to become an issue, so I'm just gonna handle it and then
So you're saying you hide things?
Well, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that like if something comes up and I need to take care of it, like say for instance, I have a need to, you know, fix something at the house. And so I see something that's broken. And so I just go to the store and I ask you, do you need anything from the store? And I get you what you need. And I also buy the 5 light bulbs I need. And then I just come home and fix it. And like, okay, I fixed it. She didn't have to worry about it. She didn't have to care about it. I just took care of it.
You like to anticipate things.
I like to anticipate things and just deal with them. And I just love to do that. But sometimes things happen that you don't anticipate. And this is where my stuff flares up. Because if things happen and I couldn't have anticipated it and I could not have controlled it, and then I'm helpless to do anything about it, it emasculates me.
Well, I think that's the whole problem with men and women when they're fighting is a lot of times when we're venting and stuff,
yes,
we just need to talk and we need you to listen.
Yes.
But then what men start doing is they want to start fixing it.
Correct.
And then women get mad because we didn't want you to fix it. We just wanted to talk.
And then men get mad because if you don't want me to fix it, then why are you talking about it?
I feel like we've all had these conversations.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a fundamental difference of how men and women are. And that's why I have really tried to, and I think the best advice I can give is if you want to just talk, you tell them, I don't want you to try to fix this. I just need to tell you about this.
If you started every conversation that way, I would be fine.
Yeah. But they naturally want to fix stuff.
Yes.
And you know, thinking about it, I'm the same way.
Yes.
If you're coming to me with a lot of stuff, I do think I listen a little more before I start fixing it. But I will try to fix it too because I want to help.
Yeah. And also, I just know how hard you work, and I know how much you do for our children, and how much you do for the channel, and how much you do for the church. And there's so many times I'm just like, I'm not even going to talk to her about this because she's got enough on her plate, and I don't want to bring this to her. And when I come home, I want to chip in and help, and this, that, and the other. And so there's just this ongoing thing, and that has been one of the biggest things. And I've sought pastoral help for this from the pastor I'm with now and pastors I've served under in the past. Of how much of the ministry do I let you in on?
I was going to say, that is our biggest thing.
That's one of the biggest things that I've tried to really be careful about.
Because when we first got married, anything that would happen in ministry, anybody's hurt feelings, anybody's whatever, you would tell me about it.
Yes.
And I became just a nervous wreck.
All the time.
Like we've talked about our life in Texas, and still to this day, if David tells me he has a meeting with a pastor, I get nervous because it's like PTSD, because he would have some really meetings where he was just criticized and anyway, just lots of stuff. And I still feel that even though I know we're in a different place, it is like PTSD. It's like, I go right back to that, you know? And so but it's at the same time, we do need to tell each other a lot of stuff in ministry because we work together a lot.
Right.
So there's been times where you're like, I'm just not going to tell you anything.
Right.
But then that doesn't really work either.
Because then you're caught off surprise when someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, tell me about this." And you're like, I don't even know about that.
What's going on? Or, if there is some major disagreement that people are finding out about and I don't know about it, then I look like I'm, in the dark. And so it is a balance. And we do our best with trying to figure out how much do we share about every little thing? Because if I know every little thing about your day and every little problem you have, then it's very stressful for me, and vice versa.
And if I know every single time the video didn't load, or the teachers at school called about this little bitty thing, and it really, because here's the bottom line with all of this. We want to be always on the same page, because when you and I are together on the same page, we are unbeatable, and we know we are. Yeah. There's a team aspect that we have. Best friends.
So if there's something that comes up, like, we want to tell each other.
Yes, we do. But at the same time, here's the dynamic of it: balancing our individuality versus being together, because God did create us to be unique to Him. But God also created us in the areas in which we complement each other and help each other in marriage. And the biggest reason disagreements happen, I firmly believe, is sometimes we cross those things. Sometimes there are parts of my life that are unique and individual to me that Jessica, as much as she is married to me and loves me, she's never going to, it's that 10 to 15% of me that she's just never going to understand. Yeah. Whether that's me being a man, or me being my personality, or the way I was raised, or the passion and calling on my life, whatever it happens to be. And it's the same is true with her. Yeah. There are parts of her life that are going to be very unique to you, that are just very outside my personality, and I will never be able to get inside her brain and understand how that feels or what that means. And just getting to the place where, listen to me, couples out there, getting to the place where you're like, okay, then.
Yeah.
And you have to get to that place.
Yeah.
You have to get to that place where, like, okay, then I'm just not going to try to fix this.
Yeah.
Then I'm just not going to talk about this. Then, hey, you know what? He just needs a minute. Or you know what? He needs a sandwich. Or you know what? He needs me to just hold him for a second. Or whatever it case may be. Sometimes there are just moments when you don't need to be you, and you need to let them be them. And it's so hard, especially for people that care about each other and really love each other, to not want to rush in and fix it, and not want to rush in and be whatever they need you to be. Like we were saying
before, like early on in our marriage, if we were having a fight, we would stay there and we would hash it out
all night long.
And now, the more you do that, the more you're going to get tired. You're going to start saying more things you don't mean. It grows. And before long, you've got something that's way bigger than where it started. And we have just learned over the years, especially if it's late at night, or maybe this is a fight that's leading up into an important thing that we have going on.
Correct.
Where we go, you know what? Let's just stop.
Yes.
Let's just stop.
Can we just be honest? It's this week. This is happening in 2 days. That's what we're really stressed about. And it's the fight is not about the fact of you didn't wash the dishes. The fight is about all these other things.
And is it hard sometimes to lay down what you think you want to say?
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. And sometimes you want to get that last word in, and but I've just found that a lot of times fights will be over a lot faster if we just stop them.
Yes.
And again, like if it's something like we just talked about that we need to communicate and work past so it doesn't happen again. But if it's just a silly, I wish you had known what I was meaning when I said this, or you didn't, whatever it is.
Right.
If we'll just walk away, have some time, usually we come back and we're like, that wasn't really that big of a deal,
Absolutely.
And then we saved ourselves all of the things we could have said and hurt each other. And that's just the advice I would give. If us only know we've only been married 15 years. It's not like we've been married 50.
No.
But sometimes you just gotta just walk. I'm not saying get in your car, drive away like you're leaving or anything like that. But like if you need to go to bed, if you need to walk out of the room and just say, you know what, I just need a minute. Let's come back in an hour.
Well, if you live in a 1-bedroom apartment, maybe you need to get in the car and drive away for a minute.
But you say,
I'll be back.
I'm going to go take a drive. I'll be right back. Let's wait an hour.
Or I'm going to take a walk and I'll be right back.
Yeah, let's wait an hour and we'll get back together, or we'll go to bed and we'll talk about it in the morning. I think that's what's really helped us, because the more you try to fight for your side, if you're not in a place where you're in a compromising, relaxed conversation, if it's just getting heated, in our experience, it's just going to keep getting more and more and more heated. So
Yeah. Well, and the biggest thing above all these things, and y'all know where I'm going with this, you got to pray for each other.
Yeah.
And you got to pray together. You know, one of the things that I love about where we are now is before and after virtually every staff meeting, we pray.
Yeah.
We pray together. We pray for direction. We pray for wisdom. We pray for each other. Everybody, there's no need we won't pray for. There's no, hey, this is going on in my house, or my kids have this week. Would y'all pray for this? And I mean, out loud, people are praying for those things with you. And can I tell you, this is the most cohesive and really family-oriented staff I've ever been with. And I attribute all of it to the fact that we're always praying together. Yeah. And the same is true in marriage. Knowing Jessica is really praying for me, and her knowing that David is actually praying for me, and that in a moment when she says I'm tired or I'm hurting, I don't quickly run for the Tylenol. I say, let me pray. And we try to do our best to do that for each other, because it really breaks down the flesh. It breaks down the selfishness, and it puts us in the perspective of God can talk to us. I would say too,
like if you have a spouse that isn't a Christian,
yes,
the best thing you can do to change your heart towards them is to pray for them.
Yes.
Because
it's hard to hate somebody you're praying for.
You know, love is what's going to break down the walls.
Absolutely.
You can nag them and preach at them and give them Bible verses and all this stuff. Mm-mm. It's love. It's love that's going to break it down and serving them.
That's right.
And you can't resist that.
No.
There's a reason the Bible says love your enemies. Not that I'm saying your husband's your enemy, but if you're having
their flesh is probably your enemy.
But if you're having a disagreement with each other,
yeah. Read 1 Corinthians 13. It's love is patient.
Keeps no record of
love
wrong.
Is kind. It keeps no records of wrongs. It does not boast. It does not boast. Yeah. It never fails.
And realizing that love is unconditional.
Yes.
And
a choice.
It's a choice.
Not a feeling.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing of why I think a lot of marriages fail, is that, well, we don't feel like we're in love anymore. We fell out of love. No, we wake up every day and we try our best to love each other and to serve each other and to be with each other. It's not easy every day. Nope. It's not easy for us every day. We all have our bad days.
Nope.
You know, merging people's lives and past and everything else together, that's hard.
Yes.
And it's never going to be always easy. Mm-hmm. But loving is a choice. And it's one you have to make every day.
Yeah. And just making that decision again to say, look, we don't seem to be on the same page right now, so I'm going to go to God.
Yeah.
And withdrawing. And I just know that from the scripture. Anytime in the Bible when men and women were at odds with each other, the people that were mature spiritually in that moment would say, we need to pray. And the Bible says, like when the children of Israel were angry with Moses would withdraw and go to God and say, God, I don't even know what to do with these people. Yeah. And then at that moment, he would turn around and God would say, okay, here's what you're going to do. And God would give him direction. And then the direction he did would not only help them spiritually, but it would help them in the need that they have. And I
want to say too, like when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel good to do this.
No.
Because you want to get your point in.
Yes.
You want to finish your thought. You want to not... putting it down and like praying, that doesn't seem natural at all.
No.
And so it takes...
Which is why you have to do it.
It takes practice.
Yes.
You know, it takes doing it even when it doesn't feel good to do.
Yep. And there are times when we're in the middle of a disagreement, I'm like, Jess, come here. And I have to just like hug her.
And I'm like, don't touch
I know. But in that moment, after we do it, it breaks it. It's like, look, can we stop looking at each other as adversaries here and remember we're a team and remember that, you can't score points if you're playing for the other team. You know, there has to be a unity here. So even if we're not done with this yet, can we please take a minute and remember we're on the same team? Can we take a minute and remember that we're trying to find because at the end of the day, prayerfully, everybody finds themselves in this situation. At the end of the day, we both want what's best for each other.
Absolutely.
We both want what's best for our children. We both want what's best for our family. And maybe our ways of looking at how to get to those things are different, but the end result is the same. Yeah. And also recognizing, like I said a minute ago, there are aspects of this that she brings that are desperately needed. And there are aspects of this that I bring that are desperately needed. And they're not going to be from the same book, because if they were, then everybody would be the same.
And we wouldn't need each other.
And being okay with that, and being okay with coming to the realization of, look, I know what I bring to this. I know what I'm called to do. I know why God made me the way I am. And that's the biggest thing. Most people get angry because they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And they try to become, I'm trying to be who you want me to be. I don't need you to be who I want you to be. I need you to be who you're supposed
Well, and
to
that's
be.
like, men and women are so different.
Yes.
We can all agree with that. And our minds work different. Our strengths and weaknesses are different. But we need each other.
Yes.
And what you have, I need. And what I need, vice versa. Whatever way I just didn't say.
What you have, I need.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we need to embrace those differences. And
Yes.
it's hard sometimes. It's like mixing oil and vinegar. Or water, whatever
Oil
other
and
choice
water.
it is.
Oil and water. There's oil and vinegar.
Well, even mixing oil and vinegar, you have to like shake the heck
you
out
have
of
to
it
shake
because
it.
it doesn't
Yeah.
want to mix.
No, 100%. I mean, and again, like I said, this isn't a master's class on this.
No, we're not experts
We're
at
not
this.
experts at it, and it's not saying we're never going to have a fight again.
But we have gotten better over the years.
We have gotten better, and when we sense it's happening, thankfully at that point, like within 2 or 3 minutes into it, we're both like, "Is this worth this?"
Yeah.
There's like a moment where we're like, and one of us usually will start backing off. And typically at that point, when one of us starts backing off, we try to figure out, okay, is this worth pursuing? Is this really that big of a deal?
I will tell you,
And-
9 times out of 10, just getting a little space,
Yes.
walking to the next room and cooling off,
Yes.
usually it just goes away.
It
It
does.
truly does.
It does.
Because usually it's something stupid that we're fighting over. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's never anything major.
But you keep saying the word fight when we almost never
I don't
fight.
mean
You know what I
like
mean? Yeah.
hand to hand combat. I just mean a disagreement.
I'm just saying. Usually the times when we are not on the same page, we're not trying to fight. We're not trying.
No.
This isn't a thing of I don't care what I say to you. I'm winning this argument.
No,
That's
no.
that's a fight.
No.
That's a fight where you're actually trying to hurt the other
But
person.
usually, like, that's why when you have a fight with someone, I keep saying fight, just that's the terminology I use. But usually after it's over, you're like, what were we arguing about?
What was the point of
And
that?
That's because it was all usually so stupid to begin
I know.
with.
or inconsistent.
Yeah.
And what I'm thankful for is when external things do happen that are important, like sickness or like a serious financial issue, we are very quick. I don't know how we do this, but we are very quick to be like, we know what we got to do. It's a grace God has given us. I cannot remember a time. Maybe there was a processing after the fact that we had to do a little differently, but like with Nate's diagnosis, with any time we've had to move in ministry, but almost any of those seasons, maybe in the aftermath, a few things flared up that we had to deal with each other. But in that initial moment where most couples would panic and like go take it out on each other, we've always gotten back to back and been like, okay, we got this.
Yeah.
And that's just I think that's a grace that God's put inside of our relationship. And I'm very thankful for that.
Because we realize that we do need each other.
Yeah.
And I know, like, if nobody else understands what I'm going through, you do, because we're in this together.
Yes.
Nobody else knows what it's like to move however many times we move, but you do.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important to be on the same page and not fight each other, because you are on the same team.
Yeah. So, just to wrap this up and bring it in for a landing, miscommunications are going to happen because you don't share the same brain and you don't have the same identity. You don't have the same walk with God. Everybody's different. And communicating that with each other and finding that common ground. If you're in the middle of disagreement, try to find, okay, there's something about this we do agree on. And then find that point and stay there for a second and then build off of it and navigate through the places that you don't agree. But the biggest thing with all of it, as I said, is put it before the Lord.
Yeah.
He knows what this is. He knows the inner issue underneath everything.
Yeah.
He knows how to reveal that to you and let you see what it is. And also, just being truthful here. Don't wait till your engine blows up to get an oil change.
Yeah. Don't hold it all in and then blow up.
Don't hold it all in.
Listen and don't just be thinking of your next point.
Correct.
I think we all do that.
We all do that.
Lots more listening, I think,
Yes.
is needed on both sides.
But yeah, preventative maintenance. Make sure you make time to talk to each other. Make sure you even if it's like she said, even if you're not at a place where you can all sit down at the dinner table together, well then maybe when dinner's over and the kids are asleep, before y'all both just go your separate ways and get on your laptops, or you watch a movie and she goes and gets on the computer or whatever, try to find a time to be like, hey, now that we have a minute, how we doing?
And that's the thing. Like, it doesn't have to be long. It could be 30 seconds. How's it going? Is there anything, that happened today that, is going on or whatever? Just kind of checking in with each other. It will save a lot of headache.
Absolutely. And I think there also is a good balance to this. There are times when, and she's even said this to me, David, when it comes to this aspect of your life, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
There are some things where, David, you take that to God, you deal with that between you and God. Save me the stress and and know what those things are.
Yeah.
And on both sides, all the little minute details of every part of her day.
I can't be wrapped up in everything that's
your
going on with
brain
you.
can only
Yeah,
process
you
so
can't.
much.
Yeah. If it's major, bring it to me.
Yes.
But I don't need to know who's upset with who and all this crap. Like I've got enough to worry about and stress out about.
Yeah. And if it's just whatever you can do to protect each other, whatever you can do to support each other, whatever you can do to just be there when the other person needs you. And, I'm very thankful that even though we're not perfect, we're better. And I'm very thankful.
Growing. Yeah.
And we're growing. And I'm very thankful that we found a continuity. We found a safe place with each other. And like we said right up front, one of the biggest reasons why we argue is because we feel like we can with each other.
Yeah. And it's taken work over the years. It's not something that's going to happen. And it's not something that you're going to fall into and it's be easy.
Yes.
Like it does. Marriage just takes work.
And it's funny, you were saying that your mom and dad said that they never did it in front of y'all because they felt like it wasn't important to do that because of whatever. My mom and dad did argue in front of me.
I think there's
there was an aspect of that where there was one time I was nervous, are y'all okay? And mom and dad said, David, we're perfectly fine. We argue because we feel like we can. We feel like that there's a safety with each other. And if it does bother you, then we're sorry that that you see us argue as much as we do, but we need you to know the only reason we do to this day in front of all of us, they do. But there's no doubt in our mind they're fine, and it's just that's how they communicate. We're going to just deal with this, so that we don't. And so, kind of what I'm saying is, Jessica and I kind of need to not do her parents' way and not do
we're like meet in the middle.
Let's meet in the middle and try to find that balance. But nature versus nurture, in a way.
We're not throwing our parents under the bus. I'm sure our kids are going to sit down on the podcast and say all the ways that we filmed them.
Absolutely. 100%.
All we can do is do our best, right?
All we can do is do our best.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love you.
I love you too.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
All right. Thank you all for listening to this crazy episode. I hope it helped you in some way, and maybe at least it reassured you that we're human too.
I made it all the way without having to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
It's a miracle.
If you're listening to us on an audio podcast platform, leave us 5 stars, drop some comments in there. And again, as we've proven lately, we will respond to your voice messages. So please email those to us at married15tolife@mail.com. We're going to be doing a Q&A episode here at episode 40. And so I want your questions and I want your comments. So submit those in the comment sections or mail them to us at married15tolife@mail.com. Sweetheart?
If you're watching on YouTube, it definitely helps us out if you'll give this video a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, everybody check and make sure that you are, because we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Leave us a comment down below, share with a friend, and click the bell to be notified when we post new videos.
We are excited about where this podcast is going.
I love it. It's been so much fun.
It is. And it's funny how we're having like an open couples therapy session in front of y'all today.
This is the way we check in with each other.
This is one of the ways we check in with each other and one of the ways we learn from each other. You know, every single time processing this stuff out in front of y'all, we're learning right here with you.
Still learning things 15 years from.
Absolutely. And we'll be learning things 15 years from now. 50 years from now.
Oh gosh, we'll be old.
Yep. And
90.
But I'll still be in love with you.
Aw.
I love you.
I love you too.
Until next time, everybody, I'm David.
I'm Jess.
I'm the husband.
I'm the wife.
And we are married.
15 to life.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I'm
kidding.
going.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.